yeah, today we're going to be talking about the fourth Siddhanta, but before we do it, we want to recap what's Odaimoku. Since you told me Nammyo Horen Geikyo, I know that a lot of people already know about it, but or they think know about it.
Yeah,
So just in case for those people, please recap on what's yeah, Odaimoku, please.
sure. So it's actually written right behind me, the Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. So Daimoku or Odaimoku, if you add the extra honorific, means the sacred title or august title. And in this case, it refers to the title of the Lotus Sutra. So the Lotus Sutra in Sanskrit, the title is Saddharma Pandarika Sutra. And Saddharma means the true Dharma or wonderful Dharma. Uh, Pandarika means the white lotus flower. So it's a particular kind of lotus flower, the most beautiful of them, supposedly. And sutra is related to the English word suture. And so sutra means like a thread. So it's a thread of the Buddhist discourse. So the Saddharma Pandarika Sutra is the discourse on the lotus flower or lotus blossoming of the wonderful Dharma. So it's the full flowering of all the Buddha's teachings. And when this was translated into Chinese characters, it became, I'm going to mispronounce this horribly, but the Chinese characters are Miao Fa Lian Hua Jing. And in Japan, it's pronounced Myoho Renge Kyo. And added to that, to the front of it as a prefix, are the two characters that in Chinese would be Namo. In Japan, it's pronounced Namu. And these two characters, the first two up there, they relate back to the Indian or the Sanskrit word namas, from which we get namaste, like in the greeting. So namas in this case means I devote myself to, or I take refuge in, or I dedicate myself. So in this case, the chanting of the sacred title of the Lotus Sutra is Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. I devote myself to the teaching of the full blossoming of the wonderful Dharma. And when we chant Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, we're not saying that we dedicate ourselves to a book, because if you read the Lotus Sutra, it seems to be talking just about itself. The Lotus Sutra as a text is talking about something called the Lotus Sutra. But in this case, the Myoho Renge Kyo, it's not a text, but it's the flowering of the Buddha's teaching, which is what the text Lotus Sutra is about. So we're dedicating ourselves through our chanting not to a concrete text or book, but to that full flowering of the Buddha's enlightenment and true intention, which is what the text Lotus Sutra is trying to awaken us to. So I hope that makes sense. It was also chanted at times in liturgies before Nichiren, but Nichiren Shonin made it the central part of his practice. So especially we consider April 28, 1253, when he returned from his studies in Kyoto to his home monastery Seichoji, as the first time he chanted on the hillside overlooking the ocean at the rising sun, the Daimoku as his primary form of practice, and would present it that way to people from then on.